Baltimore City Public Schools have some of the lowest COVID infection rates in Maryland, thanks in part to a weekly testing program. But now parents and teachers are becoming frustrated, arguing it's taking too long for results to return, leaving some students bouncing between the classroom and at-home quarantine, and it's causing students to lose some valuable in-person learning time. So joining me now is the Baltimore Sun education reporter, Liz Bowie, with more on this. Good morning, Liz. Really glad that you joined us. This is fascinating to me. Where I live, the Philadelphia School District, they have decided only to test staff members once a week, and staff members that are not vaccinated get tested twice a week, but they're not testing kids. And even though parents are expressing some frustration, they actually really do like the program. It's obviously making a difference. What steps, but there are hiccups, as you know, no surprise. So what steps are city school officials taking to refine the system and resolve some of these issues? Mainly, if you get tested, but you can't get the results back in a good amount of time, then, these kids got to be out of the classroom anyways, waiting for these test results.
Right. The Baltimore City schools are trying to do something that almost no other school system in the country is trying to do, which is test every kid in the school system once a week. About half the students get their results put into a pool, and then that pool test comes back within 24 to 48 hours, and they decide, and if it's positive, then everyone in that group of pool test, usually about 20, need to quarantine until they can be individually tested and the results can come back. That has produced some hiccups, as you said. So they're trying a new technology which would allow them to do the pool test, but also have individual results back at the same time within 24 or 48 hours. The testing itself is designed to greatly reduce the number of COVID cases in schools, and it could have the amazing effect of also reducing COVID in the city itself.
Of course. And so letting people know that kind of batch testing, that's probably not the right word for it, is a way of also reducing the costs, that you sort of test a bunch. You test a group of results at a time instead of individually, because that could cost a lot of money. I'm curious, though, in terms of the overall results. It seems like this weekly testing is like what's very different about the school district there versus other school districts. But I'm curious about the other things that the school district is doing. Are kids masked? Did they invest in the infrastructure of the schools? Because I know the schools buildings are very old in terms of air circulation and all that sort of stuff. What else did the district do?
They've taken the usual layered approach that many school systems in the Northeast are doing, which is they've done extensive renovations to their ventilation or upgrades to their ventilation systems. Every student in Maryland is required to wear a mask to school every day, and they're trying to space kids out as much as they can in classrooms. That's probably not, they're certainly not 6 feet apart, but they're supposed to be doing the best they can. I think it's very challenging if you have a kindergarten class.
Indeed. But it seems like the weekly testing is the key difference. Is that what authorities believe?
They do. I mean, there is some concern that not every kid is being tested right now because they were requiring parents to turn in consent forms, and not all of those consent forms are in. They're being a little vague about what percentage aren't in. But at least more than half of the students are being tested now. I think that this new Pfizer shot could really be a game changer as well for school systems, because it would greatly reduce the number of students who may have COVID.
Right. And in terms of those consent forms, do they know why parents may not have signed the consent forms? Is it that they don't want their kids being tested? Or is it just, hey, you get a lot of forms coming home with your kid, or maybe it's at the bottom of the lunch bag and you never actually got your hands on it?
As a mother myself, I know how long it took me to get my forms back after they were brought home at the beginning of school. So I think a lot of it is just forgotten, misplaced forms, not
Yeah.
turned in yet. But I think there is some concern that parents don't want their children to be tested. So they're trying to reach out individually now to parents and get them to understand what the testing protocol is and what they're trying to do. They do say that if you don't want your child tested by the school system, you can go to an independent, to CBS or any other place that you can get tested and bring those negative results to school, and that'll be fine too.
Hey, Liz, out of curiosity, the Biden administration just announced they're allotting like $1 billion to buy at-home tests so that people have access to them because there's kind of a shortage. I'm curious how the Baltimore School District managed to pull this off.
They started this testing program actually last February. So before many school systems were even considering it. And they did a lot of homework. We have a lot of resources in Baltimore with Johns Hopkins and also the University of Maryland. So they worked with a lot of people here in the city to develop a strategy to test every student. So they've actually been doing this testing since February. And the backlogs were not as great when they only had, 20 or 30% of the students back. The problem has resulted this fall because everybody's being tested now.
That makes sense, but it's really forward thinking on the school district, and I think the rest of the country will be watching to see how it all works out. Liz Bowie, thank you so much.
Thank you.